Dear friends, I hope you'll join me in a little bit of Torah study from the chapters that immediately precede the verses those Hope read and taught so beautifully about the generation just before Jacob and Esau. And they offer a wonderful message for a bat mitzvah celebration, as I think you'll see. They open with Abraham's purchase of a burial plot for his wife Sarah following her death. Then, when Abraham's days of mourning are complete, Abraham sets about finding a wife for his son Isaac. Now, Isaac is in his 30s and living alone, and Abraham is probably wondering, as many parents do, whether his son will ever settle down. So Abraham decides to do something about it. He sends his servant back to the place where he himself grew up. Aram Naharaim, it is called, probably near today's Damascus. And there the servant is to find a bride for Isaac. The servant is a bit unsure of his mission, and he asks God to provide clear signs by which to identify the perfect partner for his master's son. So let's read this in the handout that you received when you came in. Look at Genesis chapter 24, verses 12 through 20. Follow with me. And he said, Adonai, God of my master Abraham, grant me good fortune this day, and deal graciously with my master Abraham. Here I stand by the spring, as the daughters of the townsmen come out to draw water. Let the maiden to whom I say, please lower your jar that I may drink, and who replies, drink, and I will also water your camels, let her be the one whom you have decreed for your servant Isaac. Thereby I shall know that you have dealt graciously with my master. He had scarcely finished speaking when Rebekah, who was born to Bethuel, the son of Milcah, the wife of Abraham's brother Nahor, came out with her jar on her shoulder. The maiden was very beautiful. She went down to the spring, filled her jar, and came up. The servant ran toward her and said, please let me sip a little water from your jar. Drink, my lord, she said, and she quickly lowered her jar upon her hand and let him drink. When she had let him drink his fill, she said, I will also draw for your camels until they finish drinking. Quickly emptying her jar into the trough, she ran back to the well to draw, and she drew for all his camels. So all signs clearly point to Rebekah. Now, Rebekah has a brother named Laban, apparently the head of the household, and Laban is a tough negotiator. Before Abraham's servant asked permission to take Rebekah back to Canaan to marry Isaac, he wants to assure Laban that Isaac has the financial resources to provide for a wife. So let's pick up the story in verse 34. I am Abraham's servant, he began. Adonai has greatly blessed my master, and he has become rich. He has given him sheep and cattle, silver and gold, male and female slaves, camels and donkeys. And Sarah, my master's wife, bore my master a son in her old age, and he has given him everything he owns. Okay, let's stop there. He, Abraham, has given him, Isaac, everything he owns. Why does the servant make that statement to Laban, that Abraham has given to Isaac everything he owns? To prove that Isaac will be able to provide for Rebekah materially. Indeed, the great medieval commentator Rashi, speaking about verse 36, says that the servant even shows to Laban a deed attesting to the fact that all of Abraham's possessions now belong to Isaac. But now look at the next selection from the very next chapter, 25. Follow along with me, beginning with verse 1. So this is after Sarah has died. Abraham took another wife, whose name was Keturah. She bore him Zimran, Yokshan, Medan, Midian, Yishbak, and Shua. Yokshan begot Sheba and Dedan. The descendants of Dedan were the Asherim, the Letushim, and the Leumim. The descendants of Midian were Ephon, Epher, Enoch, Abida, and Eldaah. All these were the descendants of Keturah. Abraham willed all that he owned to Isaac. But to Abraham's sons by concubines, his wives other than Sarah, Abraham gave gifts while he was still living, and he sent them away from his son Isaac eastward to the land of the east. So here we learn that Abraham remarries and has sons by Keturah. And in light of what we read just a few moments ago, these verses raise a few questions. We read back in chapter 24 that Abraham had given everything to Isaac. Why say it again here? And if Abraham had indeed already given everything to Isaac, what was left to give to these other sons? And these questions were not lost on the rabbis of old. And here's how one of those rabbis answered. This is the last text, this teaching of the 2nd century Rabbi Nehemiah. Rabbi Nehemiah taught, Abraham willed Isaac the blessing. In Genesis 12, verse 2, the Holy One, blessed be God, had said to Abraham, "You shall be a blessing." Now Abraham gave this to Isaac. So, Abraham wills to Isaac the power to be a blessing. According to Rabbi Nehemiah, what Abraham leaves Isaac is not material, but spiritual, a spiritual inheritance. That's what Abraham wills to Isaac. It's only natural and appropriate that parents want to provide for their children, for their physical and financial well-being. And so we record our intentions in a will in order that when we die, we can be assured that our resources will go where we want them to. But there's another kind of will. It's called an ethical will, a centuries-old Jewish custom which encourages individuals to record for their children the ideals by which they hope their children will live. That seems to be what Abraham gives to Isaac, a legacy of values. In Abraham's case, we know this inheritance surely includes a devotion to God, a commitment to the survival of the Hebrew people, and a passion for justice and fairness. All of these qualities Abraham displays in his lifetime. But I would believe that this father does not leave it merely to chance that his son will see those values in action and automatically make them his own. And therefore, Abraham records them for Isaac, that Isaac should understand clearly his father's hopes for his future, those precious dreams that Abraham would wish for him, the ideals that he would pass down. Hope, will you please join me? Just moments ago, you stood at the foot of the bima beside your parents and your grandmother as they passed to you the Torah scroll. Wrapped up in that scroll were all of their wishes and dreams for you, their spiritual legacy they hope you will take into yourself, the ideals by which they hope your life will be guided. They've handed you a set of values from which you will continue to learn and to which you must hold yourself accountable, the ethics of integrity, respect, and responsibility of which you spoke, a tradition that will challenge you and cause you to ask difficult but important questions and wrestle with difficult but important decisions about justice and fairness and kindness. In handing you the Torah, they gave you what has been our people's roadmap, helping us find our place in this world. And in handing you the Torah, they shared with you their hope that one day you will become fully aware of your limitless potential and the impact that you can have on other people. For through your presence, you have the ability to bring blessing into the lives of everyone you encounter through your concern, your kindness, and your sense of right and wrong. These are the blessings you, like Abraham and Isaac, bestow upon those whose lives you will enter. Our tradition teaches that when Israel stood at Sinai, And God gave to us the Torah, our spiritual and ethical inheritance. God gave it with the greatest love. And it is with the greatest love that we have handed it to you, and the greatest pride. We are so proud of you. You led us so skillfully and taught us so eloquently and chanted so beautifully. And we look forward to what we pray will be the opportunity to celebrate many more wonderful moments in your life to come. We love you for who you are and for whoever you're yet to be. And in that love, we ask God's blessing upon you. Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. May God bless you and watch over you. Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'chuneka. May the light of God's face shine upon you, and may God be gracious to you. Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. May God lift his face toward you, and may God bless you with peace. Mazel tov.